Give me two women wearing the same $200 outfit, and I can make one look twice as expensive without changing a single piece of clothing. I wouldn't add a designer handbag. I wouldn't give her diamonds, and I certainly wouldn't tell her to dress younger. I might simply push back her sleeves. Adjust where the trousers meet her shoes. Open the neckline slightly. Remove one unnecessary piece of jewelry. And suddenly, something changes. The clothes haven't become more expensive. The woman looks more refined. After years of working with clothing, I've learned that this is where truly sophisticated style begins. Not with price, not with labels, and not with a wardrobe overflowing with things you rarely wear. It begins with knowing what to leave alone. French women have understood this particularly well. Their best outfits often contain fewer visible decisions, yet somehow look more intentional. And after 60, that principle becomes even more powerful. Because you don't need clothes that make you look 20 years younger. You need clothes that respect the woman you've become. Today, I'm going to show you 7 French-style secrets that can make a mature wardrobe look quieter, sharper, and considerably more expensive. We'll talk about proportion, texture, color, shoes, and even one detail that has almost nothing to do with clothing. And here's the fascinating part. The most important secret may be the one nobody can sell you. But first, I want to show you why looking expensive often begins by taking something off. There is a moment when a beautiful outfit is finished. The trouble is, most women don't stop there. Imagine you're getting dressed for dinner. You have on beautifully cut trousers, a soft knit top, polished loafers, and a structured leather bag. Everything works. Then you add a necklace, perhaps earrings, a bracelet. And because the outfit still feels a little simple, you reach for a scarf. Nothing you've added is unattractive. But somewhere along the way, the woman disappeared behind all the decisions. This is something I learned very early in fashion. Good dressing is not only about knowing what to put on. It's knowing when to stop. French style often feels expensive because it leaves breathing room. The eye isn't being asked to admire the scarf, the necklace, the earrings, the handbag, and the shoes all at once. There is usually a quiet hierarchy. One thing leads, everything else supports it. And this is where many women get expensive dressing completely backward. They assume a simple outfit needs decorating. Very often, it needs editing. Try this the next time you're dressed for dinner, church, a family gathering, or even lunch with friends. Finish your outfit exactly as you normally would. Then stand in front of a full-length mirror. Don't ask, "What am I missing?" Ask, "What could I remove?" Take away one accessory. Maybe it's the necklace competing with your earrings. Maybe it's the patterned scarf sitting beside an already beautiful neckline. Then look at your face. If you notice yourself before you notice the accessories, you've probably made the right decision. And please, don't confuse restraint with being boring. A confident woman can wear a dramatic cuff, a beautiful silk scarf, or an extraordinary pair of earrings. She simply doesn't make all three compete for attention. Luxury is often not the presence of more. It's the absence of one thing too many. But editing alone isn't enough. Because even the simplest outfit can look wrong when its lines stop in exactly the wrong places on your body. Here is something I wish more women were told in the fitting room. A garment can fit your body perfectly and still end in the wrong place. Those are two very different things. When I look at an outfit, I don't only ask whether the jacket fits the shoulders or whether the trousers fit the waist. I watch where every line stops. Where does the jacket meet the hip? Where does the sleeve meet the wrist? Where do the trousers meet the shoe? These stopping points quietly determine how the eye reads your proportions. Picture a woman getting ready for a smart casual dinner. She's wearing straight-leg trousers, a simple blouse, and a beautiful blazer. The blazer is expensive. The fabric is excellent. The tailoring is respectable. Yet something feels heavy. The problem may be only 2 inches. If that blazer ends directly across the widest part of her hip, It creates a strong horizontal line exactly where she may not want one. A slightly shorter or longer jacket can change the entire silhouette without changing her body at all. Price is printed on a tag. Proportion is visible from across the room. And this becomes especially useful after 60, because our bodies naturally change. Trying to force yourself back into proportions that worked 20 years ago is unnecessary. Dress the body standing in front of the mirror today. Here's a simple fitting room test. Put on your jacket and trousers, then take a full body photograph from several feet away. Don't pose. Don't suck anything in. Just stand naturally. Now look at the lines rather than your body. Would pushing the sleeves back expose a little wrist and lighten the jacket? Would a small front tuck give your legs a clearer starting point? Would trousers that barely skim the shoe create a cleaner line than fabric pooling around the ankle? These are tiny adjustments. But this is where sophistication lives. A well-dressed woman over 60 isn't trying to disguise herself. She's creating proportion deliberately. Once you understand where the eye stops, even very simple clothes begin to look considered. But beautiful proportions can only take an outfit so far. Because before anyone touches your clothes, their eyes have already registered something else. The texture. Before you touch a fabric, your eyes have already touched it. That may sound strange, but it's one of the most useful lessons I can give you about looking expensive. We see softness. We see weight. We see whether a fabric falls gracefully or fights against the body. And we notice when a surface reflects too much light, even if we couldn't explain why it bothers us. This is why texture often communicates quality faster than a logo ever could. Now, I'm not going to tell you that every woman needs cashmere, Italian wool, or an expensive silk blouse. That's not practical, and frankly, it's not necessary. What matters is how a fabric behaves. Imagine an ordinary weekend lunch outfit: cream knitwear, charcoal trousers, and brown leather loafers. Nothing about that combination is remarkable on paper. But now imagine the knit has a soft, substantial surface. The trousers have enough weight to fall cleanly instead of clinging to the leg. The leather has a quiet finish, rather than a hard, artificial shine. Suddenly, three very simple pieces have depth. Not flashy, not obviously expensive, just rich to the eye. And this is where I want you to be careful when shopping. Don't judge fabric only by the label sewn inside it. Hold the garment at arm's length. Let it hang. Scrunch a small section gently in your hand and release it. Watch how it recovers. Look at it under natural light if you can. Does it drape? Does it hold its shape? Does the surface look soft and dimensional, or thin and overly shiny? A good cotton poplin can look more sophisticated than mediocre silk. A beautiful wool blend can outperform a sweater bought simply because the label says cashmere. Fabric names don't create elegance. Fabric behavior does. For everyday errands, travel, lunch with friends, or a casual dinner, try combining 2 or 3 quiet textures rather than adding more decoration. Perhaps a fine knit, structured trousers, and supple leather. The outfit becomes interesting without becoming busy. And once you've learned to recognize beautiful texture, there is another mistake worth correcting. Because many women spend years trying to match their colors perfectly. The French approach is far more interesting. One of the fastest ways to make an outfit look more expensive is to stop trying so hard to make everything match. Yes, I said, stop matching. Because sophisticated color is rarely about finding the exact same shade twice. It's about making different colors look as though they belong in the same conversation. Think of an elegant room. The wood doesn't perfectly match the rug. The rug doesn't perfectly match the curtains. Yet everything feels connected. A beautiful outfit works the same way. Instead of thinking, does this handbag match these shoes? I want you to ask, do these colors belong to the same family? Imagine an ivory sweater with camel trousers and a deep chocolate brown loafer. 3 colors, none identical, yet the eye moves through them effortlessly because they share warmth. Or take navy trousers, a faded blue shirt, a soft gray jacket, and a cognac leather bag. Again, Nothing needs to match perfectly. The slight variation is precisely what gives the outfit depth. And this is where expensive-looking style becomes much quieter than trend-driven style. There is usually a hierarchy. One color leads, one supports it. And perhaps one smaller accent gives the outfit personality. That accent could absolutely be burgundy, forest green, deep red, or a beautiful saturated blue. French style is not a lifetime sentence to beige. The secret is giving a strong color enough quiet space around it. If you're dressing for church, dinner, work, or a family gathering, try this simple formula. Choose one dominant color, one supporting neutral, and, if you want it, one accent. Then stop. Don't make the earrings compete with the scarf compete with the blouse, and the blouse compete with the handbag. A sophisticated woman doesn't need every piece to be noticed. She decides which piece deserves the attention. And notice what we're really doing here. We're not making your wardrobe more expensive. We're making it more coherent. That distinction matters enormously after 60, when personal style becomes far more compelling than simply following fashion. But now I want your eyes to travel downward, because there is one place where an otherwise beautiful outfit can suddenly lose its authority, and it's often the very last thing a woman puts on. I can forgive an ordinary blouse. I can forgive simple trousers. But the shoe tells me whether the outfit was actually finished. I have always thought of shoes as punctuation. You can write a beautiful sentence, but put the wrong mark at the end, and somehow the entire thing feels uncertain. Clothing works the same way. Imagine a woman leaving for lunch in straight-leg navy trousers, a soft ivory sweater, and a beautifully cut camel coat. The colors are calm. The proportions are excellent. Nothing is trying too hard. Then your eye reaches her feet. If the shoe is overly bulky, badly worn, or fighting with the width of the trousers, the visual line suddenly becomes heavy. Now change only the shoe. Perhaps it's a sleek leather loafer, a refined ankle boot, a simple ballet flat with enough structure to hold its shape, or even a clean, minimal leather sneaker for a more casual day. Suddenly, the sentence has its period. And notice what I didn't say. I didn't say high heels. Elegance after 60 should never require you to suffer for it. Comfort matters. Stability matters. Your actual life matters. But comfortable and careless are not the same thing. A shoe can have cushioning, a sensible heel, a supportive sole, and still have a clean, graceful shape. For travel, errands, dinner, or an afternoon with friends, look for shoes that support both your feet and the visual line of your clothes. Now here's the part many women overlook. Look at the space where your trousers meet your shoes. That small area can change everything. Too much fabric collapsing onto the foot can make beautiful trousers look tired. A very heavy shoe under a narrow ankle can make the lower body feel visually anchored to the floor. This sounds like a detail. It isn't. The eye eventually travels downward. So before leaving home, don't inspect your shoes separately. Step several feet away from the mirror and look at the entire silhouette, from shoulder to floor. Ask one question. Does the shoe complete the outfit or interrupt it? Once you start seeing shoes this way, you'll never think of them as an afterthought again. But the next French secret is almost the opposite. Because after carefully considering every detail, a truly stylish woman knows when to make the result look as though she barely considered it at all. There is a point where polished becomes too polished. And when that happens, elegance can start to feel like effort. This is one of the most misunderstood qualities in French style. People call it effortless, but that word can be misleading. Beautiful clothes rarely become effortless by accident. The real skill is knowing which detail not to perfect. Imagine you're dressed for an evening out. Your trousers fall beautifully. Your shirt is crisp. Your blazer fits well. Your shoes are polished. Technically, everything is correct. But perhaps the shirt is buttoned too carefully. The blazer is fastened too tightly. The scarf has been arranged with such precision that you're afraid to touch it. The outfit is wearing you instead of the other way around. So I would change one small thing. Push the sleeves back slightly and expose the wrist. Open one more button at the neckline, if it feels comfortable. Let the scarf fall naturally, rather than forcing it into perfect symmetry. Or simply leave the blazer open and allow it to move when you walk. Nothing becomes sloppy. It becomes human. And that distinction is especially beautiful on a woman over 60. At this stage of life, your clothes shouldn't suggest that you've spent the morning desperately trying to look fashionable. They should suggest that you understand yourself well enough not to need that approval. Not trendy, not careless. At ease. Try this before your next dinner, coffee date, weekend outing, or family gathering. Once you're completely dressed, find the one detail that looks slightly too arranged. Then relax it. And stop touching it. That's important. Because constantly pulling at your blouse, adjusting your scarf, checking your jacket, or repositioning your handbag tells a very different visual story from simply wearing your clothes and getting on with your evening. I've dressed enough women to know that confidence often appears first as physical ease. The shoulders soften, the hands become still, the clothes begin to move naturally around the body. Polished is attractive, over-arranged is exhausting, and perhaps this is why the finest French style can be difficult to copy from a photograph. The secret isn't entirely contained in the garments. It lives in the relationship between the woman and what she's wearing. Which brings us to the final secret. Because the most expensive thing in her entire outfit may not be hanging in her closet at all. Now I want to bring you back to the two women I mentioned at the beginning. Same trousers, same blouse, same shoes, same $200 outfit. But watch them for 30 seconds, and they may look completely different. The first woman walks into the room and immediately pulls at her blouse. She checks whether her stomach is showing. She adjusts the hem. She looks down at her shoes. She touches her necklace, then wonders whether she should have worn the other one. And perhaps the most revealing thought of all crosses her mind. Am I too old to wear this? Now look at the second woman. Her shoulders are relaxed. She walks naturally. She sits down without rearranging herself 5 times. She isn't checking whether everyone approves of her outfit. She has already made her decisions, and now she's living in them. After decades around clothing, I've become convinced that this is one of the final stages of personal style. You learn fit. You learn proportion. You understand color and fabric, and then, eventually, you stop negotiating with the mirror. That doesn't mean ignoring your appearance. Quite the opposite. You make thoughtful choices before you leave home, so you can forget about those choices once you step outside. If you're going to dinner, choose the trousers that fit your body today. If you're meeting friends, wear the beautiful jacket you've been saving. If you love a strong red lipstick, wear it without immediately asking someone whether it's too much for your age. This is where French style after 60 becomes far more interesting than simply copying what women in Paris happen to wear. Because the real lesson isn't geographical, it's psychological. Style after 60 is not the art of looking younger. It is the luxury of no longer looking for permission. And I want you to remember that sentence. You do not need to disappear into beige because you've reached a certain birthday. Nor do you need to prove your youth by chasing every new trend. Neither is freedom. A sophisticated older woman knows the difference between being noticed and needing attention. She can enter a room quietly and still have presence. She can wear simple clothes and still look memorable. Because once the proportions are right, the fabric feels beautiful, the colors make sense, and the shoes finish the line, there comes a moment when you must stop styling. Lift your posture, relax your hands, and go live your life. The clothes don't create that certainty. They simply stop getting in its way. So let's return one last time to that $200 outfit from the beginning. What did we actually buy to make it look more expensive? Nothing. We removed one unnecessary distraction. We paid attention to where the lines stopped. We chose texture over status, built a family of colors instead of forcing everything to match, and allowed the shoes to finish the silhouette. Then we did something even more important. We relaxed. That, to me, is the real elegance behind French style. It isn't about pretending to be French. It isn't about filling your closet with luxury labels. And it certainly isn't about trying to become a younger version of yourself. It is about becoming more precise about what deserves to stay, and confident enough to remove what doesn't. At 60, 70, or beyond, you don't need a wardrobe that shouts your value before you enter the room. You need clothes that allow your value to be seen. And perhaps that's why certain women look expensive before we have any idea what they're wearing. The clothes don't announce their value. The woman gives them value. Now I'm curious about you. Which of these 7 secrets have you already been practicing without realizing it? And which one made you look at your own wardrobe differently? Tell me in the comments. I genuinely enjoy hearing how women adapt these ideas to their real lives. And if you appreciate classic, intelligent style that respects women over 60 rather than trying to make them look 20 years younger, subscribe and join me for the next conversation. Because next time, we're turning this idea upside down. I'll show you the tiny details that can quietly make beautiful clothes look cheaper, and some of them may already be hiding in a very good wardrobe.